Hey everybody, it's Midwest Dave here, and been doing a lot of mushroom hunting, and I noticed out on the different forums that people are asking, well, what do I do with my mushrooms other than deep fry them? I guess they're sick of deep frying. So today I'm going to cook up a potato, leek, and morel mushroom soup with a pheasant back mushroom base. And I think you're going to like this one. It come out great. Let's go cook it up. So the first step in making this recipe is to take 2 large leeks and cut them up, getting rid of the darker green because it's kind of tough. And once you got them cut up, just wash them under a faucet in a strainer like this. Once I washed them off, I filled up a container like this and dipped the leeks in it until I made sure that there's not a possibility of having any dirt or sand on the leeks. And next I'm going to slice these pieces up for the soup. Now we can just dice these up into small, manageable pieces so that you're not biting into big hunks of leeks in the soup. I'm trying to do this with one hand while recording, so I don't have my normal camera set up here today. So we'll cut up all the leeks, and then I'll show you the next step. So I've taken all the ingredients and I've added 5 of the pheasant back mushrooms into this saute pan. I'm going to add some butter, and what I'm planning on doing is just cooking it down until everything gets clear and the leeks and the celery cooked down. And I've got these pheasant backs in here just to get a lot of the flavor out of them. And I think ultimately I'll take just the fringe edges, the softest part of them, and cut them up real fine or blend them and then add them into my soup stock. I'm going to take all this and then add it to my soup pan here shortly after they're all cooked, and then I'll probably add some water or chicken broth. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do that yet, but I'll be letting you know. Let's cook this down. I've added 2 tablespoons of butter to that mix and just starting to get it going here. So we've got this cooking down pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit of thyme to this. I'm not even going to measure it. I'm just going to shake out about, I don't know, maybe a quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon of thyme. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, just to get them base tastes going into this. We can add a lot more flavor later as we get the soup going with the liquids in it. We'll just let this cook. As you notice, I've got these pheasant backs in here. I've scraped all the pores off. To be honest with you, this is the first time I'm working with these pheasant backs, and people were saying to do that. I don't know if that's necessarily a have to type of thing or a preference. And I've got them with the dark side down. I want to try to just get some of the flavors out of them into the pan. I had to add about a half cup of water to this because the fire had pulled a lot of the moisture. It's coming out of the mushrooms, and it looks like maybe some of the flavors should be coming out of the mushrooms, getting into the rest of the ingredients. Like I said, I'm not quite sure. I want to feel how soft these mushrooms get before I know what to do with them. Whether I'm going to cut them up and leave them in as they are, or I'm going to take just the outside edges and cut them up, or possibly even blend them to get all the flavor into it. Still got a little ways to go. If you guys have messed with these pheasant backs, leave some comments for me out there. I want to see what everybody's doing with them. I'm just wanting them mostly for the flavor, to add some more flavor to the morel soup. So what I've done is I've taken all the pheasant back mushrooms and pulled them out of my saute pan, and I've put them into this chopper, and I'm going to chop this stuff up real fine, and we'll use it in the base of the soup. That should do it. Let's go add them to the saute pan. Okay, we can add the pheasant backs back into the pan. I've got the heat turned off right now while I was chopping that. I didn't want to burn anything. This should add a lot more complexity to the flavor. Yeah, it looks like we're just about done sauteing here. Everything seems to be pretty tender, and it'll finish cooking in the liquids in the pot. So let's do that next. Let's move it over to the pot and get the stock going. Let's move everything over to this pot. Gotta find some chicken broth or some chicken base and get this thing started. Then we'll cut up the morels. So I went looking for chicken base around here, or chicken broth. I didn't have any, so I'm using something that I've been using in my Chinese stir fries and different things. It's a Better Than Bouillon sauteed onion base, and I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of this base, and I'm going to mix in 4 cups of water to start the broth, and then I'm going to chop up the morels and add them in. Here's the mushrooms that's going to go in the soup today. I've got probably, I don't know, 20 mushrooms in here. About 8 of the bigger type yellows, and there might be about 15, I guess, of the littler ones like this. And I'm just going to cut them up, clean them up first and trim them, and then I'm going to chop them up real fine and throw them in the mix here. Alright, I sat the camera down, let it work for me, so I don't have to shake it. Get this done. And in they go. The reason I only put 4 cups of water in there is I want to cook all the ingredients down, including the morels, without, overdoing the water, and that can come back in later, and when it's done, then I'll add the cream, half and half, or whole milk, whichever you prefer, and put the final seasonings in it. And that won't be more than about 5-10 minutes from now, so hold on, we'll be right back. To give a little more bite to this recipe, I'm going to add 3 medium-sized red potatoes. I'm going to go add them now. So now that I got them 3 potatoes in there, you can see it's starting to cook down a little bit. It was probably about 5 minutes or so before I added the potatoes. Might have to add a cup of water to this so that it doesn't dry up before the potatoes are done. But as soon as the potatoes are done cooking, then we can add our milk and or cream. And I've got a little bit of nutmeg that I'm going to shave. I mean, we're talking just a little dusting of that. And then I'm going to put just a little more of the ground thyme. And at that point, it's just salt and pepper to taste. It's starting to look good. So the water all cooked down pretty good. And now I'm going to add the milk. This is whole milk. 2 cups. And I think I'm going to add another 2 cups, which will make a total of 4. We'll see what it looks like, see how thick it is. Again, this is a first time recipe and we're kind of developing it together right here. I think I'm going to go 1 more cup and make it a total of 5 cups of milk added to this. because it will cook down a little bit. And at this point I'd add, you know, pepper to taste. I like a lot of pepper, by the way. A little more salt. Another probably 1/4 teaspoon of the ground thyme. I've put in probably a 1/4 teaspoon of coarse thyme, you know, the whole pieces. And then I'm going to try to grate this holding this little camera. Hopefully I can do this. I've got some nutmeg, and I'm just going to do a little bit on here. Just a dusting, that's it. That'll give it a little bit of flavor and it won't overwhelm it. If you put too much, it'll just kill it. So that's pretty much it, and we'll bring it back up, not to a rolling boil, but a good simmer, and let that blend in the flavors probably for about 20 minutes, and it'll be ready to eat. One other item I was going to add to this, and I forgot to mention it, it's a little bit of Parmesan Romano cheese, just a couple little shakes of that. You can add more to a bowl if you like it. This will just give it a little richer flavor and a little more complexity on the taste there. So let's come back and try it here in a minute. Here we go, everybody. I got some pepper jack cheese, some Pinot Noir, and I've got a bowl of this potato, leek, morel, and pheasant back mushroom soup. And I tell you what, it looks incredible. Let's try it out. Sitting in this table here, I'm not exactly prepared for this, but let's try it anyway. Oh my God, that's good. You guys need to try this one out. Just check out that recipe. I put the printed recipe at the bottom. Just do exactly what I did in this video and follow the directions in the recipe at the bottom. I think you'll really enjoy this one. Happy morel hunting. Cheers.